So Zillah writes on one of my videos, in the comment section, so if inspired does not mean dictated by God, then we can just say the Bible was just made up trash, like some bits on modern art. Thank you for explaining that distinction. The Bible's value has decreased now, knowing this. And I asked, why, a bunch of question marks. Let's say this. No, the well, I'll read it. Screw it. Where was I? So no one since about 300 years ago at the most thought the Bible was more than just inspired as we understand inspired. No one ever believed it was dictated by ear. The Gospel according to Mark, the Gospel according to Luke. Paul saying, this is my opinion on certain issues. Or, he didn't have authority over things, but somebody asked him about it. He says, this is my opinion. And it takes place in time, in history. So it's just silly. Then Zillah tries to dissect what I say, because I end with, the Bible's not like the Quran. Also, the Bible is not made up trash. How can you say that the Bible is not valuable, accurate in its history, and an extremely reliable chronicle? It is. It completely is. And then I get, also, how is the Bible not made up trash? I think it was meant to be, but he just said it was inspired like no, I said that. That was me. Yeah, inspired like a painting. Or like a Southern hymns. And such modern painting nowadays are trash. The archaeology bears out that the Bible is extremely real. The books of Kings, basically the Deuteronomist writings, Deuteronomy to 2 Kings, is very, very reliable. So you can look at the Bible devotionally, and you can also look at it critically. And looking at it critically, you're not going to run into a scholar and say that it was made up or that it's myth. No historian will say that. That's just called blatant not educated, being not educated. It's edging on one of those people like Billy Bob people, who I would call a fundamentalist atheist. How can you say the Bible is not valuable? I don't personally value fiction that masquerades as non-fiction. Are parables fiction? The canon was put together, and it was those works that were to be read during the liturgy on Sundays or Vespers at night. They encouraged all the early church fathers encouraged reading things like the Didache, Epistle of Barnabas. Not inspired. There's the 7 undisputed works of Paul. We know the writers for a lot of the books of the New Testament. Some it doesn't matter. They reflect and teach the teachings of the church. That's why the church picked those. Shepherd of Hermas and the Apocalypse of Peter were very popular. But the church said, yeah, these aren't good teaching tools. Luke was written to counter Matthew. Matthew gets included because there's some very important things in there. It was written early, so that's why we don't have one gospel. That's why the Diatessaron only lasted for a few hundred years, and that was it. Gospel according to. Did you not know that it was according to Mark? It was through Mark's view, and they each have their own personal views of who this person was. Accurate in its history and extremely reliable chronicle. Waf M. Ha. Ha. Ah ha ha ha. Don't make me laugh. The earth was created before the sun. The Bible, please. So what? If I reference actual places, times Harry Potter mentions London. Yeah, nice try, mate. What do you... Again, creationism is something modern. There's 2 creation accounts. There's days. The sun and the moon are made on the 4th day. So, how could you have 24 periods? Not to mention that the Bible itself doesn't tell us how old the earth is. Okay, what about all the archaeology? The Mesha Stele, Teldan Stele, the Moabite stone, the Pilate stone, the fact that certain writers describe cities and they get destroyed and buried over the sand, and they get uncovered in the 20th century or 19th century, and the layout is just as the person described it as. No. All of the battles and all of the kings that reigned for the amount of time that they reigned, and the battles actually occurred, right? But each side has their own propaganda. Remember that Deuteronomy through to 2 Kings is a court chronicle, a typical court chronicle. The early Christian communities viewed the Old Testament just as to get a context of what Christ was talking about. In fact, because of the Judaizers, they discouraged going back into the Old Testament, which was just being formed at that time. The Bible is heavily reliable. Now, I think it's ridiculous that there's things called Bible-based churches, because the church existed long before the Bible. But the documents that we have that contain the Bible, the books, are the most widely attested to and closer to their date of them being written than anything from antiquity. I mean, by far, knocks out of the park. it seems that you are not a trained historian or archaeologist, and that you don't do study and research on a regular basis with postgraduates who none of them are Christian. Well, one flips back and forth every day, whether he's a Christian or atheist. Do you do that? Do you know anything about archaeology and the historical method? Critical way of comparing documents? No? Yeah, that's what I thought with that comment. You're a fundamentalist atheist. You have the intelligence of a fundamentalist evangelical Christian and the mocking, snarky tone of anybody who doesn't agree with you. And you've just gone one God less. That's it.